Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Keeping It Real. I hope you have your coffee in your hand and your day has started off beautifully. This is the time in our week when we take a look at some of the principles that we've been talking about and see what practices we can apply to them. Actually, begin to live this philosophy in a real and practical way that actually begins to make changes in our lives. So this month for March, we're talking about joy. And on Sunday, I spoke about some of the pillars of joy. And one of the pillars of joy was perspective. And I took our participants through a process of looking at a situation in our life from multiple perspectives. And I tell you, I got such great feedback on there. I thought I would take it a little bit deeper today to actually spend a little bit more time with this process than I could spend during the Sunday service. So I like to find different spiritual practices from different faith traditions, different ways of doing things, and see how I can incorporate those in my life in a way that makes sense to me. One of the things that I learned to do in our women's groups was a Native American tradition called opening the directions. And in Native American cultures, and all different cultures have a different take on this, but for the most part, many of them use this idea of the directions being symbolic for different parts, different phases of your life, different seasons in life, different elemental qualities, and different characteristics for each one of those directions. And so when we take that situation that we have and we begin to look at it from those four different directions, north, south, east, and west, we can begin to look at it from the qualities that are inherent in the directions and see if we can get a different perspective on that. And so like I said, each of the qualities in the of the directions has different qualities to it. So generally, it starts in the opening the direction starts in the east, because the east is about beginnings. East is about springtime. It's about new growth. It's about birth. It's a phase of our life when we are the infant, the child that has just been born and brought into this world. It is symbolized by the color yellow, generally, and the element that represents east is the wind. And so all of those different qualities, we can take a look at this situation from different aspects. So if I was going to look at this quality from the east, I would say, okay, well, how did this situation in my life begin? How did this problem, this challenge that I'm experiencing right now, how did it begin? What was my part in allowing it to begin? What different things were put in place, as we would do in the springtime when we plant in the soil? What things were planted that made this start to grow into the problem that it's become? And so I look at this situation from its beginnings. And then I can turn to the south. Now, the south is usually represented by the quality of red. It's about fire. That's the element that's present in the south. It's about growth, about us going from that infant child, into reaching our, for women we would call it our maidenhood. Our young men would be reaching their years of teenage years and so forth. We are growing, we are expanding. The earth at this point, this is after we've taken the seed that was planted in the east, in the new beginnings, and now it's starting to grow. You can see it break through the soil, you can see it getting bigger and so forth. And so now we take our challenge, our problematic situation that we're facing, and we look at it from that point. What was in place that made this situation grow into what it's become? What kind of things, what kind of qualities did I bring to it? In other words, did I water it? Did I give it good nutrients to feed it? Did I help take care of it? And if I didn't do it, then who did? Where in this situation was there growth? Because it started off as this little tiny seed of a problem, and it has now become this bigger problem for my life right now. So what was it about the growth of this problem that shifted during the course of the time of it? And then we turn to the west. Now, the west is about the autumn, the harvest. It's about about taking what has grown and seeing what benefits we're getting from it, seeing what we're receiving from it. Or if we're not receiving benefits, then maybe what are the challenges we're getting from this problem? The West is generally associated with the color blue. It is the element of water. So we have the blue. We have the animals of the water that are represented in the West. The animals in the South, I didn't talk about those. The animals in the South are the quick-footed animals like the coyote and the cats and dogs and things that run fast, so things that can move quickly. The animals in the East are the winged animals, the birds, the things that fly, that are in the air, the wind. And so we look at those elements look at the problem from the situation of those elements. So if I'm looking from the West, what am I benefiting? What am I reaping from this situation? What did I harvest here? Was my harvest for my benefit, or was it for my detriment? What happened here in this situation, in this problem that I'm looking at from the different perspectives? What in there am I getting out of it? And then we turn to the North, and the North is the time when we let the soil rest. We call it letting the soil be fallow. This is the time of winter. This is the time of reflection, of rest, of regeneration, to renew ourselves as we prepare to make that cycle back into the East. This is a time of the matriarchs and patriarchs of our communities. We would call them the crone, and the wisdom men that are the shamans and so forth, that are the people, the keeper of the history, the keeper of the wisdom and the knowledge. And so when I look at my problem, my situation from this perspective of the North, what is the wisdom I've gained there? What learning has happened here? What tools can I take away from this problem in the North? And so those are the four main directions. Well, I also invited people to look at it from below and above. And so when we look at things from below, we look at the pattern that it has made on the earth or in our lives. We're looking at it at what is the track of it? Where has it shown up, and how has it moved, and what is it beginning to create in a different way as it's moving through from these stages of beginning and growth and harvesting and resting? What are the things that are making tracks on the land for me? And if I'm looking at it from above, Desmond Tutu called this the God's eye perspective. Although we believe that God is from within, in his faith tradition, it is above us. And so it's looking down, and it can see the problem in its totality. When you look at things from above and you look at it in that perspective, you can see all of the nuances of it, all of the things that are happening. And so taking a look at the challenges in your life and exploring them from these 6 different directions that I just went through, and seeing what you can learn from that, what you can glean from that, and how you can shift that, changes the perspective you have on the problem. And when we change the perspective of the problem, there's an opportunity for it to be healed, and there's an opportunity for us to feel joy again in whatever that situation is. And so spend some time this week. Doesn't matter if it's a big problem or a little problem. See if you can take it and look at it from the different perspectives, the different points of view, using those north, south, east, west, above, and below directions, and see what you can clear out of your life and how much more joy you can bring into it. I hope you continue to watch us. We'll be back again here next Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Until then, have a wonderful and blessed week. Bye-bye.
Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.